Yes, we are live on 3 platforms out of 4. 4 platforms, video platforms. Periscope, Facebook, DLive, and YouTube. Not Twitch today. We are suspended on Twitch. Jib Jab gave a super chat and said, bonus deers, Hake. Hank. Thought you should know that Twitch just suspended your channel for imaginary hate speech. I'll tell you about it a little bit more after the intro. I'm going to be talking, it is Wednesday, October 7th, 2020, 9:01 a.m. U.S. Pacific Daylight Time. What's up, Tim and all you guys? Nice to see you on the other platforms, everybody. What's up? I'm also streaming live on the audio feed, which is available on thehakereport.com/show. You can also go to jesseleepeterson.com/show and click on listen. That's how you can listen to Jesse's show as well as mine. Nice, huh? As well as Church with Jesse Lee Peterson on Sundays when it's live. Cool, huh? Very cool. Also on TalkStreamLive.com or the TalkStream app. Probably also the TalkRight app, which has many other hosts as well as Jesse Lee Peterson and yours truly. That's me, Hake. So, you guys hear me fine? Yes? Right on. I'm going to be touching on, well, the VP debate is tonight. Presidential debate next week, hopefully. Assuming that Biden doesn't get cold feet. The McCloskeys are indicted. I mean, it's not really a surprise. They have a black female prosecutor, a black radical Democrat female prosecutor. Michelle for Joe Biden, big wow. By the way, I heard the New York Slimes is for them too. Lots of anti-white fear-mongering from the deep state, from the government. The FBI, I believe, or Homeland Security, whatever. It's ridiculous. And there is an attack. I didn't know, but I didn't think about it, but Kyle Rittenhouse is in jail. And you have sleazy dummies like Tony, who probably didn't even bother watching the video, or if he did, he's so blind with hatred towards whites that he thinks Tony is a caller of mine sometimes. Black guy. A disgrace to truck drivers, but about par for the course for blacks. Dumb blacks, that is. Maybe subpar even. But there's so many who agree with him. Just suckers. Along with the lying, deceptive mainstream media. But Kyle Rittenhouse, the guy... Kyle John Wick, Jack Bauer Rittenhouse took some Antifa BLM male feminist attackers down when they attacked him in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and he's under attack. There's this. The Guardian is indeed. I have proof straight from the horse's mouth. The Guardian is not only a far left foreign sleazy outlet. They are openly activists, openly anti-Trump activists. And I have a little story on Katie Hill, the bisexual female from California who had to resign because she's being disgusting. Millennial. There's an update on her. Hollywood's promoting her, but her staff are promoting the Me Too and Time's Up movement. It's disgusting. Evil fighting evil. And many other things. Many other things. Some revolver headlines for you. So, let's get on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report.
Oh, gosh. That's a dude.
La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
So, what's up, everybody? You can call in 888-775-3773. By the way, I've heard that there's like some mod drama. I haven't really kept up with it over on DLive. Work it out, guys. I trust Noah's Ark, Kansas. I trust his take on things. If he's in there, Noah, Ark, Kansas, if you're in there, You make the decision. Noah knows best. They didn't heed his warnings, and they all died. His, what do you call them? The people who lived at the same time as him. Yeah, Noah's Ark, Kansas. So listen to Noah. Take Noah's lead on what should happen there. I'm not involved. I don't know. I don't really care, but I do like for things to be fair. But I like to trust the mods. Nom Amor gave a diamond. Thank you. Appreciate it. And thank you to Jesse Lee Peterson for hosting on D Live. What a mess. We're not supposed to be into drama, right? Anyway, I told you guys in Hake News about the vice presidential debate tonight, 6 p.m. my time, 9 Eastern for those of you on the East Coast. Figure it out. If you're Central Time, it's, 8? If it's Mountain Time, it's 7, unless you're Mountain Standard Time, then it's 6 for you as well. If you're in Hawaii or Alaska or Sweden or wherever, you probably already know because you guys are smart. And yeah, hopefully Mike Pence is tough. I don't have high hopes, but, he'll do okay. And what's her name will be as phony as usual. And hopefully enough people's eyes are opened that we win in November. But that's just worldly stuff. We got to be perfect no matter who's in charge, right? I was chuckling during Hake News at the end of hour 1 today, by the way, because I read news from the far-left female-run feminist outlet called The Skim, and it is pretty disgusting. They're total kiss-ups to Black Lives Matter type nonsense and far-left radical anti-male feminist nonsense and anti-American nonsense. But they were promoting this sports team that you may never have heard of. I certainly hadn't, called the Seattle Storm, which won its 4th championship. It's 2nd in 3 years. That's WNBA, Women's Basketball Association. Women's basketball. Tell me that's got to be affirmative action, meaning subsidized. Because I can't imagine that do you really think that the WNBA is a profitable organization? Or is it just buoyed by the actual NBA, which is losing profit too, because they're just so supporting total degeneracy, and not everybody is on board with that. There's a whole lot of suckers in the world, but not everybody is on board with that. But the Seattle Storm beat the Las Vegas Aces. Just doesn't it sound like sci-fi or a foreign, you came to a different world, an alien world, planet, and they have completely different names that sound vaguely, I've heard of Las Vegas, I've heard of Seattle, but I haven't heard of the Las Vegas Aces or the Seattle Storm. But that's women's basketball teams. I'm just chuckling about it because nobody's ever heard of them. And probably there's some decent athletes, right? Yeah. What's up, Daniel, over there? What's up, Wayne and Rhonda? Just fake names. Yeah. But there's a whole lot of, actual injustice in the world against Kyle Rittenhouse, who's in jail for murder, for an obvious case of self-defense, a clear and plain case of self-defense. And the McCloskeys are charged, they're indicted for this mess. Meanwhile, the NBA is promoting Black Lives Matter and SJW stuff, social justice warrior, which is not justice. They're enemies of America. Same thing with Black Lives Matter. Forget Black Lives Matter. They're evil. They have nothing to complain about. No valid complaints whatsoever. They should be taking a look at themselves. Don't be lesbian. Don't be fat. Don't be into this black stupid stuff. Right? And don't be hating the police. A lot of people do hate police. And a lot of police are catching that hate. And there's no reason for it. There's really no reason for it. As society declines, all of the institutions decline. You have the FBI and the DHS and all of these disgusting so-called institutions in the United States government, which were never even constitutional, I don't think, right? Bible Go-To guy claims that last he heard, the NBA subsidizes the WNBA to about $10 million a year. Look it up, guys, if you're interested in finding out. I don't know. But these people they're endorsing hatred of whites and fear-mongering of whites. And they're kind of encouraging it when they're saying, oh, this is going to be a problem, and this has been a consistent problem. And, whites are, 60% of the population, 63% white non-Hispanics, 63% supposedly of the U.S. population. You would think that they would be, if it were proportionate, they would be 63% of the domestic terrorism. I've seen numbers that say, oh, there are half of those people killed. There's like 16 people killed, right? Over the course of 2 years in the name of terrorism, right? And 8 of them were from whites. But then there were actually 48 people hurt from these terrorist incidents, and 36 or something like that of them were from whites. So it's like 3/4 of the people hurt by white terrorism, or the people hurt by terrorism were white terrorism. But half of the people that were killed by white terrorism. But, it's such a silly thing because they're kind of ignoring the elephant in the room of Black Lives Matter, of Antifa, who are mostly trying to use like non-lethal stuff so they can get away and pretend like they're a protest movement when in reality they are a national undermining movement, justice undermining movement. They hate justice. They hate real justice. That's why they hate that Kentucky Attorney General, the black guy who I criticize for being too soft and nice and almost crying when he thinks about his mother, if something were to happen to him, if police were to break into his home and his girlfriend, or I don't know if he's married or whatever, but I don't think he lives with his girlfriend like Breonna Taylor lived with her boyfriend or slept with her boyfriend allegedly that night. And either she or her boyfriend shot at the cops in Louisville, Kentucky. And everybody, the lynch mob is going after the cops without any evidence. This guy is saying, I could just imagine. My heart breaks for Breonna Taylor and her family, which she doesn't really have a real family. She's not married. I don't know if she had any children. I don't know if Kenneth Walker, her new boyfriend, had any children. I don't know if her ex-boyfriend, the drug dealer, has any children. By the way, he survived. They did a no-knock raid the same night as they not raided hers. They should have no-knocked hers. He survived, no shots fired with the actual crazy criminal. She didn't survive because it was knock and announce. But they banned no-knock raids. Yeah, that's going to help. It's only going to make the problem worse because you're hamstringing the police and letting the criminals free reign. It's crazy. It's like insanity. But they do it on purpose, I think. They want to set up for more crazy incidents to happen, more killings. Then they can exploit those killings and say, we need more reforms. And their reforms are part of swooping in with false solutions, right? Swooping in with just... They're control freaks, controlling the people with their subversion of real justice. You know, when you're mad, you don't care about reality. Think about it. You can relate to this. I think people can relate to this, that when they're mad, they're self-righteously angry. They think that they're righteously angry. That's what these people are. And they'll devote their whole thing to it. It's for money and it's for power, but it's also for their egotistical stuff that they're hung up on. Egotistical ideology that they're hung up on. These people who are pushing this stuff. So Homeland Security reports that white supremacy is the most consistent and lethal threat. White supremacy extremism accounted for more fatal attacks than any other domestic violent extremist group since 2018. The attack on white people has increased like crazy since that time too. So you would expect this. And the growing immorality across all of the races, of course it's going to happen. And we've heard about this. It's kind of honestly old news, this deep state attack on whites. They're pretending that, you know, I don't doubt that there's going to be some white terror attacks if they're not stopped, because that's when the attack on whites and the whites, there's a lot of whites getting angry. So of course it's been happening a little bit here and there. But practically every person who's been silenced on the pro-white people, the white radicals. Some of them are not even radicals. Some of them are just white Christians who don't hate whites and they recognize the attack is on whites. But some of them are into the white thing, which they have the right to be. But I'm familiar with a lot of the names that have been silenced, and those ones are pushing for calm. They're pushing for not being violent. There's only one name that I know of who was remotely applauding the violence, remotely. And even he said, we don't aggress. This guy who used to be a libertarian, and then he was radicalized by the mainstream media and the Black Lives Matter. He was radicalized not by the alt-right, but by the Black Lives Matter. I'm referring to that guy who appeared in that Vice documentary. I interviewed him some years back. Jesse Lee Peterson warned him against the anger. Don't get into that anger. He said, yeah, okay. But he didn't listen. He stuck with the anger. And now he's getting smeared. People are calling him like a Fed. Meaning one of those guys that is a snitch. He works with the federal feds. The feds being these deep state people who are really enemies of America. These people who are just a bunch of liberals who are government employees. They're not even elected. They don't represent the people. They represent the liberals, but they're not elected to represent the liberals. They're hired, and then it's hard for Trump to go through and fire all these people. 96%, 98%, 99%, 80% even with the most pro-America institutions, supposedly. Of these people supported Hillary in 2016. I've told you about that. But supposedly this guy, this radical guy, pro-white guy, was working with them. And, you know, he's trying to stay out of jail, and he's getting into all this trouble, getting like DUIs or whatever. And he was at that Charlottesville thing. He appeared on that Vice documentary, The Far Left, another enemy of America, the mainstream media. I'm talking about that Christopher Cantwell guy who seemed like he kind of applauded that guy who shot up the church, Dylan Roof. Nobody else that I've heard has promoted this stuff, but they're all being suppressed as though they're the ones who are causing this what they call the white lash, a white backlash against the mainstream culture, obviously and apparently coming down against white people. And the children, ages 15 and under or something like, it's probably 16 or 17 or maybe even 18 and under. Now, as far as that demographic, that age group, whites are already a minority. Did you know that? And whites were once 80, 90% of the country. That's crazy. I laugh, but it's an evil subversion of the country. And then, you know, the young POCs and the young whites like us, we grew up amongst everybody, and we didn't know anything. We grew up this way. It's normal to us. Minority. A majority minority. That means the POCs are outnumbering the whites. The combined numbers of the Hispanics and the blacks and the Asians and whoever else are outnumbering the whites. And even the whites are being brainwashed to believe that the whites are the problem. So acting DHS secretary said, Chad Wolf, and he's in the Trump administration. What can you do? Said, the American people should have faith knowing these threats were identified using the best intelligence. No. Operational information and employee knowledge available to the department. And it's kind of, whatever. They have this thing called hate crimes, which is another thing that's manipulated to make whites look bad, when in reality it's like all races do these so-called crimes of bias. And it shouldn't even be a crime of bias. They should just treat it as you do evil, you get punished for your actions, not your alleged thoughts, not your Facebook posts, not the slurs that you said while committing the crime, right? But he said, the first of its kind Homeland Threat Assessment. This is as close as you'll get to seeing and understanding the information that I see as acting secretary and that our employees see as national security missions. The DHS supported Hillary at 96% of their donations went to Hillary Clinton. You really think that they're about what's right? Hillary Clinton fear-mongered about the alt-right and Pepe the Frog and Alex Jones. Meanwhile, Black Lives Matter is tearing apart the country, and she's supporting them. And she's just an all-around evil, disgusting, crooked person. And none of this is really news because they've been saying it since April and probably well before that. They used to cite, the FBI used to cite the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, which lists Christians as anti-homosexual radicals. It's probably why Twitch suspended my channel. Did you hear about that? Twitch did. Twitch, yesterday, I was talking about the same-sex marriage thing. That's my only guess as to what I was talking about that they claimed was hateful. Twitch.tv, it's a wannabe YouTube, right? It's a gaming platform. And they sent me an email yesterday saying, hello, the Hake Report. Based on a review of your activity or content, we have issued a community guidelines strike on your account. As a result, your access to Twitch services is restricted. So when you go to twitch.tv/the Hake Report, not found. Reason, engaging in hateful conduct against a person or group of people. Read Twitch's community guidelines to learn more. It's unenlightening. Don't bother. Where the violation occurred in your channel profile. Content related to this violation may be removed. Suspension length 14 days. Trying to get around this can result in a longer suspension. I'm not interested, Twitch. But thank you to Jib Jab and all you guys who went over there on Twitch to support me. I appreciate it. It's fun. There are some, David Pakman fans and, radical homosexuals on Twitch. Twitch really promotes that LGBTQIA stuff like they think it's love or something. No hate. # no hate. It is hate that they support. They hate the homosexuals, so they pretend to go along with it as though it's right when it's not. I also talked about blacks yesterday, but I don't know. I just have a feeling it was the gay thing. That's when YouTube removed something when I talked about the Supreme Court making some decision banning gay discrimination. I made some comments and YouTube took down my video. They don't tell you what it is, you know. You just have to try to remember back and guess, or watch through your show again. It's crazy. You know, and they're smearing Kyle Rittenhouse. There's this column by the Chicago Tribune. Big man Kyle Rittenhouse now wants to be treated like a boy. A 17-year-old young man. And there's this disgraceful Antifa supporters, apparently, or Black Lives Matter supporters, degenerates. If you zoom in on that picture over in there, Chris, there are signs outside this courthouse or whatever this thing is over in Wisconsin somewhere, I'm assuming, held by these males, I think, supporting the so-called victims who were would-be perpetrators who attacked Kyle Rittenhouse, Joseph Anthony and Anthony Huber. Oh, Joseph Rosenbaum, I mean. Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber. Justice, remember, remember. And these dumb guys standing outside with their masks on. And these guys, some of them look like they're too old to be this blind. But, you know, there was an Antifa guy who got himself killed, a Black Lives Matter supporter, who got himself killed bombing some immigration place. But they have the pictures of these people and they pretending that these people are victims. Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber, criminals who criminally attacked the city of Kenosha, not just the city of Kenosha, but also Kyle Rittenhouse himself. And it's plainly seen on the video. It's like plain as day. That's why I reacted to this guy, Tony, from California, the disgrace to all truck drivers, who tried to accuse Kyle Rittenhouse of murder. Kyle Rittenhouse, the 17-year-old, lawfully carrying a firearm in the city of Kenosha. Thank God he was able to defend himself. These guys got themselves killed by going after him. And it's so obvious. But he's accused of murder. What a disgrace. And this guy, Eric Zorn, who's another guy who looks like he should be old enough to have some sense. I don't know if he's white or what. But this man, male, I should say, is an op-ed columnist for the Chicago Tribune with a liberal/progressive bent. And he has 3 adult children. He's married and an evil person. Podcast host. But pushing lies, pushing nonsense, smearing this guy Kyle Rittenhouse, who was trying to do the right thing, upstanding young man, and they try to accuse him of murder. Well, the media guy isn't the one who tried to accuse him of murder. It's the authorities, corrupt authorities. Very typical, but that's the anti-white fear-mongering. Unimaginative Groiper gave a diamond, said, thanks for the show, Hake. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Noah's Ark, Kansas. Evgeny Crosby 2020 with the diamond says, Kamala Harris is going to have... I don't know what this means, and I hate to read it, Evgeny Crosby. But it's an interesting comment. Check it out on dlive.tv/The Hake Report. They say colorful things over there. But thank you, Evgeny Crosby, for the... She's going to have something tonight. And, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't see Mike Pence's as disgusting and cringeworthy of a kiss up as other politicians, but I just don't know because, you know, every time I see him, he doesn't talk, which makes me kind of like him. When he talks, yeah, it's okay. It's all right. We'll see. We'll see. I'll be watching, I think. Next week, President Trump's supposed to have a debate. I'm going to talk about Katie Hill, the crazy female, and there are some crazy females. I assume that they're females who worked for her. She's a former representative elected in California, resigned, married to a male, but it's kind of crazy. But first, let me get to some calls. Daniel from Orlando, Florida, a first-time caller, wants to talk about the lies regarding Daniel Cameron and Black Lives Matter. Daniel Cameron being the Kentucky Attorney General, I believe, the black dude, Republican, Trump supporter. Right on. Daniel, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Hey, how you doing, man?
Doing fine. What's up?
Good. Good, man. Well, yeah, man, I just wanted to call. I see you on Facebook. You guys, you and Jesse, you guys are doing a lot of good work down there, man. So I greatly appreciate all the information and the real news getting across the country. So, yeah, regarding Daniel Cameron, man, he's been getting a lot of backlash, dude, just because they made the right decisions and logical decisions.
Yeah, you know what? I have seen that. There's a former guest on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, Dr. Umar Johnson, who I had him on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. I was way back in like 2014 because he, you know, didn't have homosexuals. Like he was speaking against homosexuality and like a local school that was going to have him speak there canceled on him. But he was like a black Pan-Africanist, and so he wants to build a school for coons. No, a hospital for coons. So, and by coons, he means blacks who are for actual justice, I think.
Right.
Yeah. And then there's like that, I almost said Fatty Watt, but that's a D Live supporter. That WAP singer, Megan the Stallion. Megan the Stallion, which is a male horse, but Big Bump told me that black males call voluptuous black females stallions, which is weird, he says.
you know, it's so weird. It's true, and it's wrong.
Yeah. But she smeared Daniel Cameron, too. Disgusting.
I can't believe
SNL.
the video she made on CNN. Not CNN, but SNL.
Yeah, Saturday Night Live. Man. Supposed to be a funny show, fun show. But
yeah,
no.
Man, it did it. They did it for me once. You know, they did their little party debate, and I'm like, oh my God, okay, that was it for me. I was like, okay, I'm done. And this just tops the cake. This puts the cherry on top.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, you guys woke me up this year. So
nice, man.
I'm a recovering beta. So
right on.
So you know, it's funny because I live in Pine Hills, Orlando, and it's predominantly black and liberal.
Yeah.
And you could just feel the hate once you roll down the windows. So
what do you mean by that? You can feel the hate. The hate towards who?
The hate towards America, man.
Really?
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad, man. What little hope we have here is just the little ones, you know, waking up, you know, here and there.
Like, how can you tell? Are there like anti-Trump signs, or you just see the angry faces?
Oh, man, you can see it in their face. A couple weeks ago, I went to this dollar store over here.
Yeah.
And there's a BLM mural.
Oh, yeah.
And this guy selling pro-black flags. And I'm like, oh, man, it was disgusting.
Right.
And it was on an Asian store. They painted it on an Asian store. So
no. Yeah, they do love murals. That is true. You know, there's a guy who shot somebody, and I think it was in Omaha, Nebraska, if I remember right. I told you guys this story. Somebody in Omaha shot a black dude, and this black dude was a criminal. I think he brought it on himself, as I recall. But like a group of 100 artists painted this mural, and then there was another mural that went up somewhere else in Omaha, Nebraska. And then, so this guy, oh yeah, that was the bar owner. During that Black Lives Matter riot, they rioted in his bar, bar, and it's a concert venue, and this guy lost his whole livelihood. The owners who own the two side-by-side next-door businesses buildings where he ran his businesses.
Right.
I think he allegedly committed suicide. Some of you guys don't believe he committed suicide right in front of a medical center way over in, like, Oregon somewhere. Hillsboro, Oregon or something. But, this guy, it was basically a lynch mob. This guy had jumped on the dude. This 22-year-old black male, James Scurlock or something like that, jumped on, and he had been rioting. He'd been seen destroying private property, just being a disgusting individual. And he attacked this guy. He might have been on drugs. And this guy, everybody knew he had a gun, shot and hit the guy in the clavicle. The guy died, James Scurlock. And then the whole lynch mob was going after him. And this guy got indicted for what was a clear case of self-defense. I think he got indicted, right? And he was supposed to turn himself in, and he ended up he ended up dying. Maybe he offed himself because he was going through it. But it's crazy.
Had a lot of pressure.
Murals, man. So the hatred is around the country, and it's not just blacks, it's everybody who supports the degenerate blacks too. But yeah, man. Murals, huh? On an Asian store in the Orlando area, huh?
Yeah, it's terrible, man. It's terrible.
You live there?
I live in this area, man, and it's funny because every time I have my Trump hat, and I'm riding around my windows down. And my wife is terrified. I only do it with me in the car. So
right, so you can drive off and keep the doors locked and.
So you can see it in their face, and every time they see me with my Trump hat, it's a face of confusion.
Are you black or Hispanic or white or what?
No, I'm black.
Okay.
I'm black.
Nice.
But I appreciate everything, Hake. You guys, it's funny. I was on the phone with Nick before he put me on hold. I thought I was actually talking to you. You and Nick, your voices are very similar.
Yeah. Nice.
But we appreciate everything you guys are doing, man.
Well, right on, man. Appreciate you for standing up. Be careful down there. Don't be foolhardy. Don't be foolhardy. And make sure you protect your family if you have children, or at least your wife.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, man, that's cool.
No doubt.
Yeah, they're being outright evil towards this Daniel Cameron guy. I criticize him very harshly for not being strong enough against Black Lives Matter. But he's basically honestly, like, he's standing for real justice. It's so ridiculous.
Really, and all people have to do is just wait and see, and and let the professionals do what let law enforcement handle what they need to handle, and clear things up. That's
a great point. You never hear the media say, "What are all these people doing out protesting?" when they don't even know the facts. Like, shouldn't they wait and see? But no, they're rioting. They rioted a week after that guy got himself killed way back in 2009. And it's ridiculous. There's this guy who got killed in over the weekend, I guess, in North Texas, Wolf City, Jonathan Price. And I don't know anything really about the case except that he resisted arrest in a non-threatening manner and walked away, and I guess a taser didn't work on him, and somehow he got shot. Well, the officer did shoot him, right? But I don't know, like, I didn't see the video. I don't really, even if I saw the video, I wouldn't make a decision, but these people are, this guy got charged and arrested on $1 million bond right away. And I read it as cowardice, and so do the blacks. The blacks see this as they don't want a riot.
Right.
It's crazy. That's not a way to run the justice system.
Not at all, man.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it a lot. You know, what happened to comply? Nobody complied.
Right.
It's very simple.
That's another great point. Like, there's no huge campaign of comply with the police. Don't resist arrest. Don't run. Don't be. In fact, there's the opposite. I've told you guys, it was played on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. Angela Rye, who is propped up on, I guess, CNN or MSNBC or something, and she has her own show. She said, I heard it on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, they have to run or they have to resist arrest, otherwise they'll get killed. No, they get killed because they're running. I mean, they don't always get killed resisting arrest, contrary to what Earl pretends. You know, my older caller. But it's so insane. It's so wrong. It's such a disservice to the blacks that they're pretending to advocate for. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. It all starts in home, man. And, you know, it's crazy because I'm raising 6 children.
Wow, nice. Have you called Jesse's show before?
I tried to get through, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to get through on his calls.
Yeah. Well, call early and often. By early, I mean right at 6. Some people were calling, 6 my time. It would be 9 your time. Some people were calling at 5:22 in the morning today. I'm like, we don't answer the phones until 6.
You know
Anyway.
what? That's funny. I probably did that. I'm sure I did that.
Oh, that's funny. Well, just so you know. And you can call church, too. Church at 11 my time, which is, I guess, 2 or so your time. But, yeah.
Right.
Well, I appreciate it, man. So 6 children, all yours?
Well, 4 of mine, and then 2 are married in.
Okay. You'll have to talk with Jesse about that one, man.
Oh, man, I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah. You know, if you ever want private one-on-one counseling with Jesse Lee Peterson, you can just call the office. The office lines are open. Before I come on the show, after I come on the show, the office lines turn on. So you can, even right after you hang out with me, you can call the 800-411 bond number. 800-411-2663 is BOND. And schedule private counseling by phone or Skype or with your wife or not with her, whatever. It's cool.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to have to do that.
Yeah, it's recommended. It's nice. Do you do Jesse's silent prayer?
Yeah, I do.
Nice, man.
I do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How did you first come across Jesse and me?
Oh, man. Last year, I was questioning because I was a Democrat last year, and I had to do some soul searching after all the stuff that's happening with the nation and stuff. And, you know, the media, I'm like, oh, well, if this media's going after Donald Trump so bad, I'm like, well, you know,
right.
Can't be that bad, you know?
Yeah.
So I did my own research, and I came across savage moments on YouTube, Jesse.
Yeah.
And, oh, man, I died. Like, it was so funny because Jesse is such a logical man. He sticks to logic and wisdom. He has so much wisdom. And I just started watching from there, and I seen your show. Jesse mentioned your show on one of his segments, so I started listening to you as well.
Nice.
So, man.
Do you catch church with Jesse Lee Peterson?
I catch it here and there, yeah.
Okay.
I catch it here and there.
It's on podcast, so you can podcast it after. You can watch it later or listen to it later, too.
Oh, okay. I had no
Yeah.
idea it was a podcast. Okay, I'll definitely do that then.
Yeah. Nice, Daniel. We'll hear from you again.
Oh, definitely, man.
Good luck over there. Be safe. Be smart. Be careful. And be a man. As President Trump, as President Trump modeled, That's...
Oh, yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Hake.
All right, Daniel. Take care, man.
Hey, you too.
All right. Appreciate you. So, before I get back to calls, I want to point out that President Trump, back in 2016, I was like, this is a case of You know, it's never been more obvious that the nation is basically men who are standing up for what's decent and females, you know, misguided females and female-minded liberals standing up for what's evil. And Joe Biden is just a continuation of that. He's such a, you know, he acts like a cheap imitation of a man. You know, he sometimes speaks his mind like he's like a cheap imitation of Trump in that sense. Because sometimes he'll be like, oh, blacks are not as, what did he say about blacks compared to Hispanics? They're not as diverse or something like that in their minds. Well, I mean, it's even worse today than it was, I think, during Hillary's time when they were promoting Hillary. Oh, a woman. Actually, I think she was the only one promoting herself as a woman. Oh, can you think of anything more unique than a woman president? That's real change. That's real against the system or the establishment. When she's like, no more established, there's nobody more establishment than Hillary Clinton, I think, right? Can you think of anybody? I mean, other than the people who are in the government still, like Nancy Pelosi and all of them. But now with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, oh boy, I would like to see Pence get him right. But President Trump is just being a man, and he's setting an example. Don't panic with regard to the COVID thing. Even when he caught the COVID, get over it quickly, still come back as soon as you can. Be careful, be safe, but don't be afraid. Don't let it dominate your life. And he did that. I heard that suburban women, he got like 44% of the white female vote, President Trump did, I heard, in 2016. And I heard that has fallen way off. I heard. I don't know if it's true, but that's what some guy at Politico says. It was retweeted by Cernovich. I follow Cernovich. He's like a activist, journalist, center-left type of a guy. You know, you're familiar, most of you. He's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show in the Fallen State. Kind of a standard-thinking guy, but I kind of like how he's generally emotionally removed from stuff, and so he likes to just put out what he thinks is important. And he retweeted this story that talks about, well, this article, right? This guy who's put out this article on Politico. It's a far-left outlet. I don't know much about this journalist who said it, but they said that suburban women, or women in general, are fleeing from President Trump. I don't know if I believe it, but President Trump is not into the fear-mongering, the control freakish stuff. The people want to be safe line that Biden said in the debate. I should get that clip for you sometime, maybe tomorrow, to show it to you. Trump said the people want to go back to work, which is such a manly thing, right? The people want to be back in business. The people want to live again. It's really oppression that they're being forced to stay closed. I guess it's our fault for electing these people who close us down. Well, I mean, I didn't elect them, I don't think. I did vote for rhinos until Trump. Kind of unknowingly, sort of knowingly, because we thought that that's all there was to choose from. I'm talking about W. Bush, McCain, Romney. At least McCain and Romney didn't win. But President Trump is setting that example, and then it's such a female thing to be concerned with security, safety, rather than freedom and what's right and what's logical. And with confidence, which is a more manly interest, you know? Twitter, of course, is female-minded. Might be run by a mixture of males and females. By the way, the vice presidential debate, I said it in Hake News today, kind of hosted by USA Today, sort of. The USA Today female is a moderator, 69-year-old woman who didn't change her last name way back when she got married in 1982, 10 years into her career as a so-called journalist. This Susan Page woman. Well, USA Today is going to have live fact checkers. I don't know. I don't think that they're going to be commenting live on the debate, but maybe they'll send her messages or something. I don't know. But you can watch their fact checkers and their team of fact checkers. I think I gave even some screenshots. USA Today debate fact checkers. It is a bunch of mostly women. I counted 20 females. This team is way too big. And only 18 males. And I don't know if any of the males are men. Can you imagine a man working for USA Today, which is a far left outlet? That's not one of JC's black callers referred to USA Today as a right wing outlet, which is not even true. Not even close to being true. But Twitter has removed this funny meme video of Trump hurling COVID. Republicans, the rhinos in the government, including Jim Jordan, I hear, is silent on this antitrust thing where these huge companies are monopolies on the online public forums, basically. They control most of the online conversation. I'm talking about Twitter, Facebook, Google, /YouTube, /Alphabet. There are female writers. This woman named Miranda Devine says Biden's timid behavior is unpresidential. Very nice. This woman writes for New York Post, which is sort of a mixed bag, but it has some writers who sometimes they're decent. Dr. John R. Lott Jr. has written for the New York Post before. He debunked the phony Ferguson report by Obama's wingman attorney general, that Holder guy, Eric Holder, who wants to brainwash the masses against guns. And Biden has been, the old line that they've been saying, Biden has been hiding in the basement. Meanwhile, so this Miranda Devine lady, or Devine, I don't know how you pronounce her name. Apparently she likes men. She doesn't hate men, at least not that much. And another woman who's been good against Black Lives Matter. She's been good on the war on cops. And she's been pretty good against this Me Too movement. She's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. She's been on Tucker Carlson's show on Fox News. Heather MacDonald. She writes for City Journal. Pretty good researcher. I don't know if she's a little bit liberal herself. But Heather MacDonald says, I got these from Revolver, by the way, these headlines. Revolver News. That President Trump models positive masculinity, rational and unbowed. That means you can't make him bow, I think. Against fear. And I'm liking that people are noticing this. These are people who are acceptable commentators. They appear on Fox News and stuff like that. So I'm liking that people are noticing that. Because it is a bunch of female-minded liberals pretending they care for the offenders, the Black Lives Matter people, the Antifa people, the mainstream media. They pretend mainstream media people are victims. Oh, the free press is under attack. We're the free press. We're under attack by the mainstream press. Everybody who's on social media is the free press. And they want to silence and control you. It's crazy. So it's never been more obvious to me of male versus female. And hopefully Trump cannot be a weak male, and hopefully Pence cannot be a weak male. Well, Trump is pretty solid. That's nice to see. More solid than many of us would be, even those of us who may have what we call better opinions than President Trump, for example, on the letting people out of prison. But his spirit is right. Man. So let me get to Connor in Atlanta, Georgia. Connor, how you doing, man?
I'm amazing. How are you, James?
I'm doing fine. Nice to hear from you, man.
Yes, sir. Ditto. so I wanted to comment on. I guess I'll be asking your opinion too. But did you notice how when Trump got he got COVID and he tested positive? It kind of felt like, because the way the media was talking about it, it's like they didn't really care that he got COVID. I think they wanted him to die.
You know, there was a mixed bag. There were evil people like that, and then there were evil, phony people pretending to wish him well. I saw it there was this New York Slimes writer, longtime guy named Clarence Page. I think he's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson many years ago. I don't know if it's on YouTube. I would have to go through our archives to maybe find it, but I think he pretended, he went on Fox News on Sunday and pretended to be like, oh, you know, I'm concerned about President Trump's health, but look at how he's been with regard to these masks. He's been so cavalier, and just this female-minded, liberal black male, overgrown too. He's like old. Or he looks old anyways. But yeah, these people are malicious. And even the ones who fake like they care about other people, they're just faking. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, they well, I saw, because I have some friends that are very liberal minded, and they think it's, because we have a group chat on Facebook Messenger, and they'll often post memes of Trump in the chat, and they'll call him drumps, and let's say he has dementia and all that stuff, and they think he's worse than Biden. That's how what's the word, brainwashed people are. They really actually think that Trump is more mentally unstable than Biden is.
I wonder if they really think that, or if they're trying to convince themselves. I think part of it, though. What do you think?
I think that they really, liberals tend to act like they're smart, but I don't. But they're very they're like, I remember one time we talked, you said how it's the intellectualism that makes you think that you're that makes you think that you're intelligent. Not that you think you're some genius like you're Einstein, but it makes you think that you can think deeply and all that mess. But
right.
I think that the liberals who claim to say Trump is more mentally unstable, or as a nutcase, or as a lunatic, or something like that. The people who claim that, I think that they say that because they genuinely think that, but also they will say anything to make Trump, just to express their hatred of Trump.
Yep.
It's like that Asian lady who was on Jesse's show, who apparently did observed him mentally and said how he was mentally unfit to be president.
There's a whole team of so-called mental health professionals who came out with this report, observing from afar, right? Observing him on TV, pretending that he's and they're the mentally ill ones. Yeah, you know, the intellectualism thing, maybe it'll help you guys, those of you who don't get my criticism of intellectuals and Jesse's criticisms of intellectuals. Consider it to be like the wisdom of man is foolishness to God. And the foolishness of God is stronger, and the wisdom of God seems like utter foolishness and baffling to men. And by men, I mean female-minded males, who don't actually believe in God. And that's why they can't see the wisdom of what he's saying. That's why there are many people who think that they can laugh at Jesse Lee Peterson when he's telling true and deep things and simple truth. Same thing with Trump. They're baffled by his manly, godly reactions to things, and his way of trying to be being a leader, not just trying to be a leader. So I think maybe that'll help explain this intellectualism. Intellectualism is man's false imitation of real wisdom. It's just like empathy is a liberal word. liberals use the word empathy to be a false imitation of love. Empathy is feeling others' emotional pain, right? But
Right.
or pretending that you can, right? It's imagination. And love is not into emotions. It's just about what's right.
It's
on
about
behalf of
wishing
what's
someone's
okay.
well.
Yeah.
I remember what Jesse said. It's about wishing people well. It's about having no hatred in your heart, loving, just caring. You, I mean, because I do think that love is still caring for people. You know, you want the best for people.
Yeah.
Because that's how I feel. I certainly, you know, especially like my friends who, you know, say all this nonsense and garbage about the president.
Yeah.
You know, I still hope that maybe they can wake up. I'm not counting on it. But
You know, man, it's kind of like these people believe in, that's why they have to believe in racism and sexism and homophobia and Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. Yeah, and sex, all that stuff. They have to believe in that stuff because they can't just break it down to hatred, because they hate the people. They openly hate the people who they think are racist or sexist or whatever.
Yeah.
And then if they just break it down to just simple hatred, they're guilty of what they're accusing us of.
Yeah, exactly. And a great point to add to that. A great point to add to that is that one of my liberal friends often talks about how he hates nobody and that he has no anger. But the simple idea, because this is how really unintelligent a lot of liberals are. The idea of thinking about someone so much or talking about someone so much in a negative way, that means that you hate them. And because that's exactly what my friends do. That's exactly what the liberals do. They talk about Trump or a certain individual so much in a negative light, it literally means that you hate them. It literally means that something about them, you know, pisses you off or makes you angry, or, you know, so you have a dislike for them. You don't care about them. You want to see them, in one way or another, you want to see them not succeed. So I think, because it really, I mean, trust me, I know Jesse has mentioned it before, how when you're in the fallen state, you when you come out of it, you don't realize that, like, you don't even realize, like, wow, I was in the fallen state, like, that's crazy, because you don't think twice about it because it feels normal.
Yeah.
And then when you actually wake up, you start to see, like, wow, I was wrong. I did hate people. I was angry deep down. And all the other stuff. Liberals can't do that because liberals are so brainwashed and so for you're going to know what I mean, like mind effed, like, you know, the bad word. they're so mind effed by, you know, Trump and Republicans, conservative males, and they don't know what good is. They think good is like, you know, LGBT, STD.
Right. They have a false version of morality. It's just upside down. I appreciate it, Connor. It's good to hear from you, man.
Sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. I'll call again.
All right. Let me know what you think of the debate.
Between
Pence versus Pence versus Kamala Harris.
Kamala. Yeah.
Right.
However you pronounce her name. You know, they called Tucker Carlson racist for pronouncing her name wrong.
Right.
Yeah, I can't wait tonight. I'll definitely call back about that.
All right, Connor. Take care, man.
You too, buddy.
All right. I'm going to get to Daniel and the rest of the callers after a quick break. It's getting hot in here. I shouldn't sing that. I'll be right back, guys, and then I'll talk about Katie Hill and the rest of this madness going on. We got to check ourselves, the conservatives, so that we can overcome that madness. All right. I'll be right back for we're well into hour 2, but I'll be right back in a couple of minutes here, guys. Hang tight. And we're back, guys. Appreciate you hanging in there. Periscope J. Smollett says, Hake, will you be watching any of the InfoWars 40-hour marathon? If they have Jesse Lee Peterson on, I will. Hadn't heard about it. But thank you for the question. Hydro PX gave a couple of diamonds. Thank you for the constant support, man. And he says, we got the same shirt on, Hake. I got the blue one. And for those listening on audio podcast, I am wearing Your Daddy Didn't Leave You. He Left Your Mama. JesseLeePeterson.com. And it has a little picture of Jesse's face. And on the back it says, don't be mad. I think you can see it. Nice, huh? Don't be mad. That's designed by Lock Your Door. Right on, Lock Your Door. Appreciate you, man. By the way, let me just double check this. Super chats on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. Thank you to Hot Computer Smell for the faithful support. She says, I can't wait for the WNBA to be infested with men pretending to be women. Yeah, the WNBA, the Women's National Basketball Association, I think, something like that. And they've been promoting transgenders in sports. They being the mainstream media, transgenders everywhere. People who are pretending to be other than what they are. And speaking of that, I have a story of someone who is being promoted just for that, and also for hunting Nazis. I'm going to get to that, but first let me talk to Daniel, a first-time caller in Austin, Texas. Daniel, how are you doing? Daniel, are you there? Daniel wanted to know, do you think there will be violence after the election? Daniel, thanks for coming off of mute. I'm presuming that's what you were.
That was what. I'm sorry. Thank you for taking my call. I just didn't want background noise to get in. To sum up, really a question. I think after the election, regardless of how it plays out, things are going to be bad, especially in urban areas. I'm out here in the People's Republic of Austin. How do you think people should move forward regardless of how the election turns out? And little quick two-parter. Really want to thank you and Jesse for bringing a lot of positivity. I found you guys through Asmodor.
Nice.
And that milieu. So just y'all bring a lot of positivity and really want to thank you. I'm going to go ahead and drop and I'll listen to you on stream.
Okay. Appreciate that, Daniel. Nice question, too. I think that we should follow the excellent advice of Jesse Lee Peterson, who's telling you always know yourself, pray without ceasing, speak up but don't resent. He says, if you notice, I don't know how I didn't catch it like earlier, but if you notice, he says like the same principles all the time. He said, forgive, speak up but don't resent, stay with the prayer, know thyself, all those things. If you keep on doing that and really doing it, I think that will, then the whole rest of it will work out. You'll know whether to move or not, whether to run for local office or not, whether to change your career or not, how to start a business, what to do, when to speak, how to speak, and all that stuff. And we'll fight rightly and effectively. Winning in the physical world is great, but if you're doing what you're supposed to do and you are what you're supposed to be, that is the most important thing, I think. Think about, like, in the Bible. This is what I heard. Jeremiah in the Bible was a prophet who warned and warned and warned and warned and warned and warned and warned Israel to repent. They never, ever, 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 ever listened. But I think that he did what he was supposed to do. And so, like, the results will take care of themselves or won't. So don't worry about it. I say, worry about yourself without being a worry wart, right? I think that's the best thing. And I do think that there will be, I mean, there's already violence pretty much every day before the election. Of course, there's going to be violence after the election. The violence will always be with us. This whole peace on earth, I want world peace stuff. Nope. Not realistic. Just like the poor will always be with us, the evil people, until something else changes, will always be with us. That's why they don't stop. We have to keep fighting for what's right. Tirelessly, never tire in doing what's right, right? That's cool. And always wash your hands, says Skip. I don't know if that's a reference to the advice. Appreciate the support, guys. So, I had just been mentioning transgenders in the WNBA, what Hot Computer Smell is expecting. So I came across this. It was promoted by this thing that I used to have when I was producer for the Jesse Lee Peterson show, where I would save articles. It was this app called Pocket. It's like run by a bunch of liberals, no doubt, right? And in this recommended Pocket story is this thing, and it's this article from The Guardian, and I have a few screenshots about from The Guardian, which is a far-left foreign outlet, has no business meddling in America, foreign intervention. Written by this man named Sam Levin or Levin in Los Angeles. I don't know if he's an American or not, but the topic is called Trans Freedom Fighters Activism. And it's an interview, and the headline reads, the data scientist exposing U.S. white supremacists says, this is how you fight Nazis. And so I see this person, it looks like an old lady, maybe white or Asian or Jewish or whatever, you know, something along those lines. Maybe part Hispanic, who knows? And the article subtitle says, after surviving far-right violence in Charlottesville, Virginia, which there was only pretty much whites fighting back against Antifa and Black Lives Matter, so except for that one guy who drove into the crowd. And then maybe some guy who beat up a couple of guys who allegedly beat up a person in a parking garage, a black dude. Emily Gorsensky, which is not his real name because I think that he is a transgender, a male, wannabe female. But this man, he calls himself Emily Gorsensky, has tracked the Proud Boys, and other so-called extremist groups. Proud Boys are not extremists. They're extremely centrist. They're in the extreme center. Honestly, the extreme center. And they have this whole series called Trans Freedom Fighters. This is The Guardian, right? And they call them the far-right Proud Boys group. This is Sam T. Levin on Twitter, Levin. If you happen to want to go find him, don't be impolite, right? Since 2018, the 38-year-old data scientist has been exposing members of the far right and cataloging white supremacist violence across the U.S. through so-called his site, First Vigil. The project grew out of the attack on him, Charlottesville, Virginia community, Charlottesville, Virginia community, the year prior, the deadly Unite the Right rally. It was a peaceful rally, disrupted, partly the fault of the mayor, I would assume, who I believe, I don't know, told the police to stand down. They certainly didn't stand in the way and separate the so-called neo-Nazis from the people attacking them. Bearing torches and swastikas, well, I saw one swastika, shouting racist and transphobic vitriol at so-called him. One of the attackers was revealed to be an active U.S. Marine, active service U.S. Marine. Allegedly. Using court files and other public records, this is an Antifa member, so-called researcher, has cataloged hundreds of criminal cases connecting the dots of dangerous neo-Nazi networks, revealing links that journalists and authorities have missed. It can be difficult to keep up. Far-right violence has escalated dramatically under Trump. No, far-left violence has escalated dramatically, and the right-wingers are fighting back. Some of them are lashing out a little bit too hard. I wouldn't doubt, right? I wouldn't doubt, because not everybody's perfect. And they're blaming Trump for ignoring his own government's domestic terrorism warnings on white supremacist violence that I told you about earlier last hour. For his safety, Gorsinski has relocated to Berlin, Germany, where he has some distance from the United States' white supremacist threats and the groups that he investigates. He needs to be looking at himself. Trans and non-binary leaders are on the front lines of the 2020 organizing and activism in the U.S. The Guardian shines a light on their work. And they have some other headlines. Our love is radical. This is the Guardian, right? Why trans activists lead the way in protest movements. We are resilient. The activists sheltering trans people in Trump's America. So silly. And so there's this whole interview that there is taking place. This person is living a lie. And you can see, wow, yikes. I hate to do this to you, but look at that picture if you're watching the video. An American data scientist. Think about this. We've heard about science and statistics and COVID numbers. Is this one of the data scientists counting? Is this the type of so-called data scientists counting this stuff? I don't know. Is this the type of person who's working in the DHS? I don't know. The FBI. It's crazy. This is an Antifa supporter, Antifa person. Somebody, this Levin guy, not a Christian. I would dare say not a Christian, not a real one anyway. Ton of misinformation about Antifa and left-wing protest movements. Yeah, okay. There's no misinformation about Proud Boys, right? How would you explain to folks what it means to be anti-fascist right now? And so this person, this male pretending to be a female, says there's a diversity of strategies that we can have on how to build a world that is resilient to fascism, meaning against fascism, right? And they talk about protests, community involvement, and this one is doing this research stuff. And this person is on Twitter, been sued a couple of times, beaten the lawsuits because, it's a bunch of liberals. They have a picture of Heather Heyers. Isn't it Heather Heyer, the woman the white female? I don't know what she was into. I don't know if she was just a bleeding heart liberal do-gooder or if she was a member of Antifa or Black Lives Matter, which is pure evil. Some of you guys may know more than me about Heather Heyer, but Heather Heyer was the woman who supposedly got hit by the car, or she had a heart attack after the car struck the crowd or something. She died in that car crash with James Fields driving into the crowd after Antifa was hitting his car. Maybe he was driving a little too fast and they hit his car. I don't know. Or they recognized him. I don't know. But this is a ridiculous situation. It was one-sided how the media covered it. It was complete lies. And now you have The Guardian. I have the bottom of this article. The Guardian writes, in our trans freedom fighters project, The Guardian, this is a British outlet, is spotlighting the work of our trans and non-binary movement leaders on the front lines of 2020 organizing and activism. Read more stories here. America faces an epic choice. In the coming months, the results will define the country for a generation. These are perilous times. Over the last 4 years, much of what The Guardian holds dear has been threatened. Democracy, civility, truth. The only thing that they like on there is democracy, and when the right acts extra civil and lets them get away with lying. Democracy they like because they can push communism through it, right? Freedom fighters, nothing free about promoting LGBTQIA madness. So they say the country is at a crossroads. Am I wrong that The Guardian is a foreign outlet? The Supreme Court hangs in the balance, and with it, the future of abortion and voting rights, healthcare, climate policy, and much more. Science is in a battle with conjecture and instinct to determine policy in the middle of a pandemic, or should I say, plandemic. Chinese, I call it the commie virus, and I'll tell you why later. Well, I've told you before. At the same time, the U.S. is in a reckoning with centuries of racial injustice. Just all lies. This is The Guardian. This is supposed to be a journalist outlet. It tells you about our history books, am I right? The White House stokes division along racial lines. Yeah, okay. It's not you. At a time like this, independent news organizations that fights for truth and holds power to account is not just optional, it's essential. Like many news organizations, The Guardian has been significantly impacted by the pandemic. We rely on our readers, both for the moral force, it's funny to hear them bringing up morals, to continue doing journalism at a time like this, and for the financial straight. And basically, they're asking for your donations. Support Guardian. It's ridiculous. I told you they're an activist outlet, out there explicitly anti-Trump, explicitly pro-everything bad for you. The Black Lives Matter is evil. The LGBTQ stuff is evil. And the climate change hysteria is about globalist socialism, redistribution of America's wealth, shutting down American businesses, and just power grab. Just like with this pandemic thing, a power grab, exploiting, what the heck? That was Siri. Exploiting fake fears, overblown fears. That's why it's nice to have a man, President Trump, handling stuff. So, speaking of LGBTQIA madness, plus, female-minded stuff, Katie Hill, the old girl. I think she's like my age or a little bit younger, a millennial. I don't know if she was among the trailblazing bisexual females. Bisexual means that even though she's married to a man, she likes girls. Inappropriate. Hollywood is, of course, making a movie about this female. Katie Hill. Katie Hill was elected in 2018, and she left office in 2019. In the United States Congress. And there were pictures that leaked out that she had, or her husband or ex-husband, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. And their female, what do you call it? A threesome type partner, weird person. Somebody leaked out pictures online. They took pictures. Jason Lee Peterson advises against that. They took pictures, ill-advised, going on these weird vacations with 3 of them and doing weird things, inappropriate things. And her husband or they were trying to divorce each other or something. One alleging that the other cheated. Maybe both were cheating. And then she was getting with a male staffer, allegedly. It's just a mess. A millennial mess. And I've noticed that the millennials, the younger people, who get into these offices, not all of them are very disciplined. They're very sloppy. You notice how, like, the people who are promoting degeneracy who are older, some, not all, some are at least outwardly more disciplined. They don't get caught doing their freakish, weird things. These people are just sloppy. And she got with it like a campaign person on her campaign, and then a person maybe in her staff as a as a congresswoman, a female congressman. So Deadline reports Elizabeth Moss, which I guess is a actress. Any relation to Kate Moss, the model? I don't know. Set to star as Katie Hill in the Bloom House, which is a far left, whatever, studio, I guess. Bloomhouse television adaptation of the ex-congresswoman's memoir. Because she wrote a book. Talk about shameless females, huh? So, Elizabeth Moss is going to play former female congressman Katie Hill in an adaptation of her memoir for Bloomhouse Television. The Handmaid's Tale star. This blonde woman plays in this far-left feminist pro-abortion propaganda TV series called The Handmaid's Tale, which is always referenced by these people who think they're so original thinking that they accuse conservatives of wanting to bring about a Handmaid's Tale situation. Handmaid's Tale is this propaganda movie, like sci-fi, not a movie, but a TV series, where these women are dressed in red, like they're forced to become like nuns, only instead of being nuns, they're forced to basically like raped or something and forced to have children, right? Pro-abortion propaganda, because it's slavery to force a woman to have a child. It's ridiculous. But they push that stuff. They try to compare what that Amy Barrett woman, what she's into as a Catholic, as a Handmaid's Tale type of cult religion. Just basic standard Catholic Christianity. Sick people. They're the sickos. They're the ones who want to oppress the Christians and force everybody to pretend that the LGBTQIA stuff is real. And this one is a B, the bisexual, not the B word. I don't use that. I was raised differently. Not that it's better. Code Black creator Michael Seitzman, if you guys know anything about that, I don't know, but this is another male who's involved in this, writing the screenplay. Right. Stay classy. In the right context. So that's happening, but that's not the twist. Like, this is par for the course. The most degenerate person gets a movie. Harvey Milk, the disgusting guy who was a California politician / radical homosexual activist, had this whole movie made for him. Who's that guy who's really radical? He's old. He's like a classic actor. Sean Penn, I think he played. Did he play Harvey Milk? What a disgrace. How embarrassing. And then, there's this actor who died, like he overdosed or something. He played Joker, but before that he had played a homosexual in this homosexual movie, Brokeback Mountain. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. It's par for the course. Yeah, Heath Ledger. Just these people are just misguided. They think that they're fighting hate, right? They're changing the culture to be accepting this stuff as though that's going to really help anybody. It's a disservice. It's hate. It's female-minded. So, but anyway, there are 2 Twitter accounts associated with this Katie Hill woman. There's at Katie Hill, California or something like that. And then there is Rep Katie Hill. And Rep Katie Hill, the real Katie Hill, has no more access to it, right? Because she resigned from her office. I'm assuming, right? But she's a blue check mark. Well, this account is a blue check mark account on Twitter still. to this day. Well, Rep. Katie Hill tweeted this whole thread last night. A thread is a bunch. To this day! This Twitter account posted a whole bunch of tweets. Rep. Katie Hill tweeted, Katie Hill's former staff here. Disappointed in so many folks, including Elizabeth Moss, Bloomhouse, and Michael Seitzman, regarding today's announcement. Talk about dumb millennials or Zoomer females, not the good kind, not the conservative kind, but the evil, blind, brainwashed kind that care more about what is this? Pop culture movies than about reality, right? And this goes on. The announcement is about a movie, right? A movie being made lionizing Katie Hill as a heroine, right? A heroine is a female hero, not to be confused with the drug. This is an incredibly sensitive situation. We appreciate the instinct to defend our former boss, an LGBTQ plus woman who faced abuse from her husband. No evidence of that, by the way. No evidence that her husband, who was foolish enough to, I don't know if he knew she was bisexual going in, but he knew she was liberal, no doubt. But he's a sucker. You know, so many males are suckers today. But no evidence that he abused her. She just said it and they are repeating it. That's evil. Representative Katie Hill's former staffer goes on and says, what happened to Katie Hill shouldn't happen to anyone. What? That she got outed as sleeping around, being a degenerate, and then had to resign over it? But this moment requires more nuance, as Katie Hill's story, our story, is one of workplace abuse and harassment. So she's saying Katie Hill can be both a victim and a perpetrator, and staff can experience severe consequences for speaking out against their powerful boss. And so they're underhandedly accusing Katie Hill of abusing the staff, right? Talk about evil people turning on each other. Hell, huh? Females in power, both in the staff and in this elected office at one point. Representative Katie Hill's staff goes on, no one should have to put themselves in harm's way for the public to understand a simple truth. Katie Hill is not a hero for women. We deserve heroes who embody our values even in the most difficult moments. Katie Hill was never investigated by the House Ethics Committee, nor has she been held accountable by anyone other than herself. Whatever that means. We encourage everyone to reflect deeply before taking her word at face value, which they just did by accusing her husband of abuse, right? Katie took advantage of her subordinates. She caused immense harm to the people who worked for her, many of whom were young women just beginning their careers in politics. Workplace and abuse and harassment can take many different forms. This is so phony. But one thing is certain, it is never okay, even if your boss is a woman or survivor. Survivor is what they use for victim, because they want to be victims. Believe us when we say it's not only about who starts it, it's also about who ends it, whatever that means. And while Katie is certainly the survivor of abuse, which that's not certain, we are confident that she sufficiently acted to end her own patterns. We are not confident that she sufficiently acted to end her own patterns of inappropriate and abusive behavior. Enough is enough. In order to advance the hashtag #MeToo movement, which Twitter supports because they put these special hashtag emoji things at the end of it with female hands going up, female hands of color specifically, with a pink background. We must be willing to acknowledge the problematic behaviors among those in our own communities. Only then will we see true progress. Hashtag Time's Up, hashtag #MeToo. And the Time's Up movement was started by this black female who's mad about discrimination against women of color in the workplace or something like that, right? That's Katie Hill being, and Katie Hill's former staffer just eating each other. She shamelessly wrote a book. They're shamelessly making a movie about this shameless woman. And then her shameful staffer former staffer, is hiding behind her Twitter account, her old Twitter account, official Twitter account, posting this mess. Talk about mess. Nobody cares, just evil fighting each other, right? But that's what happens when you promote the petty, very petty, and brainwashed. And somebody said, well, White Chris, said this was written by a literal robot. And that's true. If you listen to this, this is like college talk. You know, like college educated, wannabe educated. It's like indoctrinated, just repeating these dumb plug and play, whatever lines against males, against logic. The language is so phony. And the principles, the morals are not real. It's fake morals. That's what I mean by this male versus female. The phony morals that Joe Biden stands for. Joe Biden, his whole thing was based on a lie, the false smear against the alt-right in Charlottesville. And yeah, some of the alt-right, they have hatred too. And look at the left. They're full of hate. They're only reacting to the hatred against them. These whites are. And they're young too. Like they were raised in this hate white person culture. And most of these guys, a lot of these guys, are former Democrats. So they went from a hateful Democrat ideology to a hateful, a little bit more based in reality ideology, trying to break free from, because only time that we hear about hate in the mainstream media is the false smears. They don't believe in combating actual hate because they themselves are full of hatred. So fake. Let me get to Richard in South Carolina. Richard, thank you for calling. What's up? How are you doing?
What's up, Hake?
Hey.
How
Good to
you
hear from
doing?
Doing well.
All is well. Hey, I called in last week, man, and I said something about Earl, and ever since I said it, Earl's daddy has been in my head, telling me I need to apologize for calling him retarded. So I'm apologizing for calling Earl retarded, but I want to rephrase what I said, in a different way.
Okay, I didn't even remember you calling him retarded. I mean, I vaguely remember people, but Earl is something else.
I said he was like 70% retarded, remember?
I don't remember that. I remember that even less. But anyway, what was your rephrasing?
I just want to tell Earl to stop using the crutch.
What crutch is that?
They tend to use their race and as a crutch. You know, when things don't go right, when they don't succeed, when they fall down, they say, "Well, it's because of my color of my skin. It's because of my race." They use it as a crutch.
Yeah.
You know, I was in a car wreck when I was 18 years old and broke my neck and got paralyzed.
Yeah. Wow.
And there was a guy in the hospital that had been back in the hospital. He had been that way for years, and he was back in the hospital about the same time I was in. And this was back in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
And you know, I was like, "What am I going to do?" You know, and he said, "Well, you know, if I can't do this or if I can't do that," he said, "Well, you can always use the crutch." And I said, "What do you mean, crutch?" He said, "You know, the crutch." He said, "You just don't do it. You just get somebody else to do it. You act like you can't. You don't try."
Uh-huh.
And right then, I told myself I will never use the crutch.
Good for you.
I ain't gonna be that way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do. If I can't figure out how to do it, I'm gonna find a way.
Yeah.
And that's the way I've always. I wouldn't even park in a handicapped parking spot for like 15, 20 years.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and when I started, using them. I said, well, I'm just going to start using them because people use them and they don't need them. And I need it, right? And I had a little sign on my car that hang from the window.
Yep.
I eventually had to get a tag, but the sign went out of date. You know that the law gave me a ticket, not once but twice.
Wow.
And I'm sitting in my wheelchair, coming in my car, and they wrote me a ticket. I'm like, you gonna give me a ticket? I'm gonna look at me, man.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, your tag's expired. I said, look at all these people around running in and out of stores using handicapped spots and don't need them, and you gonna give me a ticket? And he gave me a ticket. Sure did.
That is that blind rules following rather than logic and common sense following government for you. Wow.
That's right. But Earl, stop using the crutch, man.
Yeah. That's true, man. That's a very good point. Jesse Lee Peterson, in his book, The Antidote, talked about this where he talks about, like, I don't know, he's comparing a couple of, and contrasting the lives of two misguided young men, one white, one black, and, for example, I don't know, Michael Brown and Dylan Roof or something like that, right? In his book, The Antidote, he talks about comparing these two people. I don't know if it was these specifically, but one of them had an excuse, racism, perpetual excuse. And that is the blacks today. You have to, and that excuse is really debilitating. They're so blind and blindly accepting it as reality. And they'll go to it quicker than anybody. It'll make your head swim.
It'll make your head swim.
It's so insane, the things that they'll call racist.
Yeah, when I'm in, I told you I was a substitute teacher. When I'm in class with them, I get that, and I get, I didn't take my medicine and stuff like that. And I said, look, man, I don't feel sorry for you.
Right.
That's no excuse. I said, I had ADHD. I was terrible. Yeah, but they didn't have a name for it when I was a kid. I said, Mama, I got notes sent home. Richard won't stay in his chair. Richard won't stop talking. And my daddy whipped me. I said, I got the ADHD beat out of me. The school spanked me, and I didn't go home and say, Mom and Daddy to school with me, and my mom and daddy went to school. Right. If I went, I didn't tell my mom and daddy I got a whooping because I knew I was going to get another one.
What decade was this?
This was, I was started school in, let's see, I graduated in 1987, so.
Oh, okay. That was your high school. You graduated 87.
87. So I started school in the 70s.
But man, school wasn't even meant to be like this, I don't think. I think that the school had become feminized to force boys not to be learning the normal boyish way, I think. I'm suspecting.
The school has not only become what'd you say?
Feminized?
Feminized. It's become weaponized.
Yeah.
The left is using it as a weapon to steal the minds of a generation, so they'll have control. Like this says, they can control.
Yeah.
And they've done a mighty good job.
All of those institutions.
Yep.
Yeah. The social media establishment, the mainstream media establishment, the government. Wayne and Rhonda suggests that you probably started in 1975.
Yes, yeah. And I bet you $100 to a bucket of urine that
interesting.
I didn't use the other word. I used to use the other word, but I used the correct word.
Appreciate it.
But I bet you when I go back to work, so I haven't been going to work because the so-called virus.
Shutdowns. Yeah.
But they started going back to school here. I bet you the masks that these kids wearing, I bet you the black kids was wearing BLM shirts, BLM hats, and BLM masks in school. But I guarantee you, they'll tell you, the teacher, that they have to wear a mask. And I guarantee you, if I show up in there with a Trump 2020 mask on, they'll make me take it off. The staff will say, you can't wear that, you're going to cause trouble.
Right. Never mind that BLM is just... It's just intimidation. It's ruling by intimidation. It's ridiculous.
Be fine.
Kiss up.
They'll let that float.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, man, but it's an evil
is.
world.
It is. But we're going to come out on top.
Yep. Appreciate you, Richard. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, you too, man. Good talking to you, Hake, always.
All right. You as well.
All right.
Take care.
See you.
Yeah, I was thinking about Earl, and he's so blind, and there are so many blacks who are blind. There are talking head blacks who repeat this same lie that he brings up. It is a completely irrelevant statistic, and it's just so insane that people are allowed to get off saying it. They talk about 80% of white crime is against other whites, or maybe 85 or whatever. When it's like, 90-something, roughly 90% of black crime is against other blacks. Those are irrelevant statistics. Those are not shedding you any light on the out-of-controlness of black violent crime. And you don't even have to know any statistics to know that that's out of control. You hear about it. You hear about Chicago all the time, and you've heard about Chicago for years. People roll their eyes, almost rightly, because nobody cares. There's people who are in Chicago who are acting like they care, so-called care, but not in the right way, in a liberal way. They do these programs and stuff, and they pretend like they're Christians, but they're not addressing the root issues. These are the same people, these activists who are pretending to fight the black-on-black crime. Nobody's fighting black-on-white crime, by the way. The activists who are pretending to fight black-on-black crime, these are the same people who bash Jesse Lee Peterson, who's bringing real solutions. Hello? And I call this thing, this so-called virus, these shutdowns, these commie virus, because a worse enemy than China, who let the virus out, right, is the commies in America, the people, the enemies within, who are globalists, and they want this free trade and all this stuff, bringing in China and bringing in people from all around the country and bringing in all these imports rather than making our own stuff. And all of that. They're including the corporations, which are a bunch of dumb liberals too. They are enemies within who brought this thing in, and the enemies within, of course, the shutdowns are no logic to the shutdowns. I'm seeing doctors and, honest doctors, the few honest doctors, saying these shutdowns aren't doing anything good. They're not preventing the so-called spread. They're delaying the inevitable. It's here. Let's open up. Be careful. Protect yourself. Be considerate of others. And let's function again. That's why I call it the commie virus, because it's a power grab. Let me get to Russ in Hampton, Virginia. Russ, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right, but you didn't announce me correctly. I'm Russ from Hampton, Virginia, your favorite caller. Come on now. I'm making a movement here. Even when
all right. We'll see. Suspending judgment. I'm getting a little. We're all getting a little tired of Mays and Earl, huh?
No, you can never get tired of Mays. Mays is the greatest.
Sip.
Russ trying to fuss.
If I could find Mays, I'd date Mays. She's just the greatest.
She's married.
Ever.
She's married, allegedly. Although Hot Computer Smell speculates that she collected a... Never mind. Anyway.
No. If she's married, then I take that back. But she's still the greatest, and I love to hear her.
Are you married? Have you ever been married, Russ?
It's a little personal there, isn't it, James? Come on, man.
It is. You don't have to answer. It is. It's a personal question. You don't have to answer.
I'm single. Let's put it that way. I am single, but I'm an old man, and I'm set in my ways, so I don't want nobody.
Yeah. I understand that, man.
You don't understand it because you're not old. You're a young little whippersnapper.
Well, compared to the younger whippersnappers, all full of energy, and then the whippersnapper Jesse Lee Peterson, all full of energy, I'm like old and don't want to be bothered.
And let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Last time I talked to you, I said I was disabled, and that seemed to upset you that I used that term. What is it about that term that you don't like? You don't dig?
I mean, because disabled sounds politically correct. It's a term that it used to be. The word used to be handicapped, and I don't like how they changed the words. Handicapped means that you have something that held you back, right? Or holds you back. And
okay.
I like the word handicap because in sports, like the greatest players go on a use a handicap in order to compete with the lesser players, so that it's fair, so it's even, a little bit more even. Then it's a challenge for the greater players. So I like the word handicapped. It's more positive. Disabled means that you're not able, like you have something that you're not able to do, which I guess technically, but I just don't like this changing of the language. You know, have you noticed that they changed the language? They changed the language from to paraphilia, from sexual perversion. From sexual to perversion to paraphilia. They changed the language from normal to cisgender. So I don't like this changing of the language.
That's a little bit on a deeper level. I'm not down on. Yeah.
I understand.
But if I'm physically unable to do something, then
whatever. Yeah, I just like the word. Yeah. But now you understand where I'm coming from with that policing your language.
I just noticed that the last time we talked, and I was like, well, why would he have a problem with being disabled? I mean,
but now do you understand where I'm coming from now?
Yeah, I might understand where you're coming from.
I'm just kind of combating the defeatism and the victimhood mentality. Not that you have that necessarily, I don't know, but
sometimes there are parts of my body that doesn't move, and it doesn't matter what I do. Like my fingers, they don't move.
Yeah.
So, that's not like crying and being boo-hoo and stuff like that. But if there's nothing I can do about it, and if my fingers don't move, they don't move.
But handicap is. But the word handicap
I'm not going to sit around and cry about it.
Right.
I'm going to figure out how to do what I got to do under my condition.
There is an activism group of handicapped people. They call themselves the disabled community, and they support Democrats, and it's really evil. That's what I'm fighting against. They're a victim-minded group.
Dude, there's a wide range of ideas and opinions that disagree with you. You can't shut them down, man. I mean,
no, but they're trying to shut me down. Why can't I shut them down? You got to shut them down sometime. Otherwise, they're going to shut the country down.
No.
Yeah,
no.
I mean,
Listen, I don't believe in the same things that you believe in. I'm not shutting nobody down. I'm living my life the way I want to live it, and I'm allowing you to live your life the way you want to live it.
I'm doing the same thing, but
what you think or what you do. Why can't you just let everybody live their own lives?
Because they're not letting us.
I have to agree
Hold on, man.
You?
Let me answer. Because they're not letting us live our own lives. They want to oppress Christians. They want to oppress men. They want to oppress whites. They want to destroy America.
What am I doing to you? Who am I destroying? I'm not doing anything. I'm
not talking about. Why are you identifying with these victim groups? I didn't say you. I said they.
Because you're the type of person that disagrees with people, and if anybody doesn't agree with you, then they are wrong.
They are.
That's not true.
Usually it is, though.
No, it's not.
You're wrong. Now you're calling me wrong. You're wrong. Why are you calling me wrong?
I simply asked you why you feel that way. That's why. That's all I did. I asked you why you feel that way.
And I explained. Now you're complaining. Right. You're complaining that I come on strong with what I believe. We're opening the treasure chest.
Whatever. Anyway, how do you feel about Trump coming down with the coronavirus? How do you come down with the hoax? I don't understand that.
Well, you fell for a hoax because he never called the virus a hoax. Neither Trump nor I nor Jesse Lee Peterson ever called the virus a hoax. So in your face.
Many people did call the coronavirus a hoax.
I'm not many people. I'm one person.
News and fake news.
I'm not
That's
many
what he was
people.
called. It was fake news.
I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know too many people. I know, like, there's one person in my comment section yesterday. So are you talking about him? Why don't you go ask that person that? Because I never called it a hoax.
I'm visually impaired. I didn't read no comment.
Okay, then why are you assuming ASSUMEING or UMING, no E, that Trump or I or presumably Jesse, I don't know, ever considered that it was a hoax? Nobody said that. We said that it's overblown, which it is.
I'm not talking
There
about,
are a whole lot of media hoaxes.
I did not say that you said it specifically.
You said you asked me, how could he come down with the hoax? Being all sarcastic and
because
smart.
it was
alecky.
said that the coronavirus is a big hoax.
It was said by who? I don't know anybody. I don't personally know anybody.
Okay, well then you don't know.
Then why are
everything.
you asking me? It sounds like you made an assumption.
You're the guy with the radio show. That's why I'm asking you.
Well, nobody I know ever called it a hoax. So, what did happen was the media has been hoaxing endlessly about stuff Trump said about it. He said that the media's negative coverage of his handling of the virus is a hoax, which it is, and that they're overblown.
So you think,
and I say that they've
correctly?
overblown the numbers, and that's a hoax. That's certainly a legitimate statement, but it doesn't mean that he can't catch the virus. Please. I've been reporting about it in Hake News for months. People were saying, oh, James is fear-mongering.
You don't think First of all, you don't think it's ironic that he caught it as, especially after the way he handled things, like not wearing a mask and asking other people not to wear masks and stuff like that?
No, I don't think it's ironic. He's put himself out there. He took the risk.
Yeah, that was real stupid, don't you think?
No, it's not stupid at all. He's not dead, so it's not stupid. He showed how
he's the president of the United States. He's going to get coverage beyond and above.
He can't just hide in his basement and be a coward like some of the other liberals. You wish that he were a coward.
Taking precautions is not being a coward.
He took precautions. He took precautions. He's been
evidently he didn't because he
he did. He's been tested every day.
How many times did he not wear? He wears a mask now, doesn't he?
Wearing a
Why
mask.
didn't he wear it
Hold on,
before?
Russ. You're not even reading the news properly. Wearing a mask doesn't protect you. It protects others. Haven't you been?
Okay,
I thought you're supposed to be smart.
I am smart.
All right, I appreciate it, Russ. I gotta run. We're at the end of the show. Let's talk again another time.
Because I'm your favorite caller, right? First Mays, and I'm your second favorite caller. First Mays.
I already said that. I already said that Earl is my second favorite caller. So you can't be manipulative like this.
I'm not trying to be.
You're acting like a scorned wannabe. Never mind.
See, now you're calling me names. Right?
Well, no, I said you're acting like a scorned wannabe. And never mind.
Go ahead, say it. Say it.
What, female?
Say it. I bet
female.
$100 to a.
You're acting like a
say?
scorned wannabe female. Speaking of this, I got to open the treasure chest.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Beg for money.
No, the treasure chest is redistribution. I wouldn't expect you to know that, but it's redistribution
Yeah,
of
I'm not
money
distributing nothing
to the people.
I'm not distributing nothing. So, no.
Well, thank you, Russ. Let's talk again.
One more thing. What was the guy's? What the quote the guy said? I will bet you $100 to a what?
A bucket of what he called urine.
A bucket of urine. Okay, yeah. I was trying to remember that. All right.
Take care,
and
Russ.
I am disabled, so and don't take that as a bad thing.
Okay.
I'm still breathing, and
Right
I'm still keeping it moving. So.
Yeah. Appreciate you,
All
man.
right, James. I don't dislike you no more, man. You're all right.
Okay. You as well. Take care.
All right. You have a great day, man.
You too. Kyle from Denver, Colorado, and the rest of the callers, I'm sorry I can't get to you, but thank you to Independence, Beard the Butcher, what's up, man, Hydro PX, and the whole rest of you guys, including Unimaginative Groiper, Noah's Ark, Kansas, Based AF, America First, Ev Jenny Crosby 2020, Nominor, Fatty Wat, which I feel weird saying that because it sounds like that WAP song, and so I don't know what it's coming from, but okay. And Beta Legs Ben. Thank you guys for the lemons, ice cream, diamonds, ninja guineas, and all of the support. Appreciate it. And thank you to Hot Computer Smell and Jib Jab and Clovera and King Alpha Nerd, all you guys supporting on the Streamlabs. Take care, guys. TheHakeReport.com for my stuff. By the way, we hope to have a Bond Sunday service premiere from 2010 at 4 p.m. today. That's the plan. RebuildingTheMan.com/church. You can enjoy it. And then after that, an hour or two later, an hour later, I guess, watch the debate, the vice presidential debate. JesseLeePeterson.com for Jesse's stuff. Take care, guys.
What?